Good morning, Dean.
Morning, pal.
How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it?
What a positive response.
Yes. So, I mean, God, how long has it been?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
No, neither am I, to be honest. I think
Too long.
Too long. Absolutely too long. But we did expect it, didn't we? That's why we gave people a bit of warning. We said, look, things are coming back to normal.
Little hiatus.
Dean now, we're in Dean's unit. Do you know what I mean?
Back in the booth.
Back in the booth. Fire in the booth.
Fire in the booth, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
We'll judge that.
Yeah, we know script, I mean, who knows. But yeah, so as we promised on episode 16, we were going to talk a bit more about sort of mindset, psychology.
Mental side.
Yeah, the mental side of training, the mental side of nutrition, dieting, just life, I guess.
Yeah.
We have a lot of topics to discuss, I think, over 6 episodes, but we'll try our best. We're going to kick start today, I think, with positivity, aren't we?
Positive vibes only.
Positive vibes only, why not? Sun's shining, can't help but be positive, can you?
No.
So yeah, I mean, what's, to you, what do you think, I mean, is positivity? What is it all about? Like, well, I know obviously it's been positive, it's been happy, but
I think it's your perspective on things.
Yeah.
It's an attitude.
Yeah.
It's how, no matter what comes at you, it's how you approach that, looking at things from different ways, whether it be opportunities in disguise. It's a bit cliche and it's sometimes a little bit cringy, but it's so true. If something bad happens, how can we turn that into a way of learning or approaching it and overcoming it?
yeah, absolutely. That's the thing for me, is it's, no matter what happens in your life, I think there is always a silver lining, right? It's like the famous saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. And I don't know if I'm the person that people hate or the person that people love when people are having a shit day, let's say, because I'm that person that's, right, where's the positive in this? Well, there's got to be something to take from this, and I'm that person that takes positive from death.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bit like, but it's not a thing for me. It's not, oh well, how's there anything good about somebody dying? But it's like, obviously, as you're aware, obviously I lost my nan a few weeks ago, and as much as that's a devastating time in our family's life, for me there's so many positives to take from it. I've spent so many good times with her, I've had so many memories with her. She's lived a good life, she's done all these amazing things, and I think we've got to look at it as more of a celebration. Like, yeah, it's negative for me and my emotions, but as a whole, like, if she looked back on her life, I don't think she'd regret much. You know what I mean? So that's the positive you can take from that, and that's just always been my mindset. People just go, oh, I ain't got time to be positive right now, there's nothing positive. And I think if you dig deep enough, there is something.
Absolutely, yeah. There's always something you can learn from a bad occasion. You can move forwards in a positive mindset. There's always 2 doors.
Yeah.
You can approach everything with let's look at it this way and let's improve. What can we learn from it? Positive side, and then there's the wallowing, pity side, and negative thoughts, and it's a bit of a slippery slope.
Yeah, I think it's easier for people to go down that slope, isn't it? It's like, that's the difficulty. I think when you're feeling down, you're feeling a bit low, the easiest thing to do is just
wallow.
Yeah, just that almost, and it's getting that, this is that fine line. So I bang on about it all the time, and I know a lot of people do nowadays, because mental health become a massive thing, and especially the awareness of it. And I'll always say, accept and understand your emotions. If we don't fully engage with our feelings and our emotions, and it's only listening to Ant Middleton on the podcast with James Smith, and he was sort of saying the only thing that makes people tough in the SAS is the fact that it's not that they're rejecting their emotions, it's the fact that they're accepting them, and they're pushing themselves to a point where they have got no other choice but to learn how to deal with those, whether it's a fear, whether it's upset, whether it's sadness.
I agree 100%. I think that it's going to come out somewhere. If you don't deal with it, it's going to come out somewhere, whether that's maybe a drink problem or an eating disorder. If you don't approach things head on, it is going to come out somewhere later on down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for me, accepting that is different to, yes, it's feeling it and it's going through it and putting yourself in that moment, like you said, because ultimately you're going to feel it somewhere down the line. But it's almost that thing of actually accepting it and actually being almost positive about the whole journey and going, right, I'm upset. And sort of, because people do say, oh, I am crying, I am upset, but are you actually, yeah, you're crying, but are you actually like in tune with what's going on in your brain? You're crying, but are you actually fully releasing everything that you're thinking, everything
denial
you're saying,
sometimes as well.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I just think, really, you've got to have the mental strength at the same time as accepting who you are going through the process, but not saying this is the ultimate end goal, this is where I'm going to stay. It's sort of saying I'm going to fully feel this, but not let it last too long.
Not let it take charge of my life and lead me down.
Absolutely.
Paths I don't want to go. You're taking charge.
Yeah,
effectively.
100%. Like, I mean, what's the saying that my girlfriend says to me? It's like, if you're having a bad day, don't let it come in. Let the thoughts and let the feelings come in, but don't let them unpack the bags.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's so true. Like, let them come in. Like, if they come knocking on your door and it's pissing it down in rain, because that's how you're feeling. They come knocking on your door and you think, oh shit, I think they're here again. Do you know what I mean? You know, these are always turning up freeloaders. And you think, well, I could turn them away now and say, but I'm fine, I'm strong. But they're only going to go back out into rain with nowhere to go, nowhere to dry off. So they're only going to come back and try again when they can't get in anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So I think the best message for that is just to let them in.
Deal with it.
Deal with them, accept them as a guest for a little bit, but just don't let them unpack the bags, don't let them stay there, and have that mental strength and be positive about the process. Be positive about a negative process.
Having a plan to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, 100%. Have a plan so that you go, well, if I'm going to let them in, I know that by letting them in, I'm doing the right thing, and by doing that, I'm going to therefore become better for it. I'm going to understand myself, I'm going to be more positive, I'm going to get.
And having a plan is positivity, because you're saying that, yeah, I feel shit now, and this is really not how I want to feel, but I'm going to get through it, and this is how I'm going to do it, and it's a positive outlook on it.
100%. I think plans are sort of underrated, would you say?
Failure to prepare to fail.
I mean, you've got enough quotes in this bloody building. I mean,
I'm a quote factory.
Do you know what? We could just read these off and feel full up.
I aim to inspire my clients. What can I say?
Positivity, no?
Positivity, that's it. Positive vibes.
No, it's plans are crucial. Plans are crucial, and people go, "Well, I've got a plan," but have you though?
No.
Have you though?
Half-arsed.
Like, and when you get down to the nitty-gritty, people don't actually think. People go, yeah, I've got a plan. But I don't know about you, and you're more involved in the PT industry and the class industry now than I am, but when you actually ask people, even just asking the same question again with those eyes, you know the eyes, I mean, like you go, have you though? Like, have you though? And they go,
patronising.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think, why not? Like, because ultimately it's like being mean to be kind, isn't it? It's like, you're doing you seem like being a dickhead to that client, but ultimately you're trying to do the right thing because you're thinking,
brutal honesty.
Yeah. And ultimately you're going to get the best out of them. The minute you start asking them about what's specific about the goal, what's measurable,
yeah. And if they get a little bit defensive, they're basically admitting there that I probably haven't given it much thought, and I don't really like that you're outing me on that.
Yeah.
But that is for their benefit in the long run.
Absolutely. And I mean, what plans? Just if you haven't got one, then just stop listening to us right now and go and get one. Go and speak to Dean. Go and speak to me, whoever. I just think just speak to a professional, because it's step number one. It might not even be fitness related. It might be mental health. It might be mindset. It might be job related. I just think if you're shooting blind, like, your chances of success are, they're up there.
I always say you're wandering around in the dark.
Yeah.
You've not got a plan.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping to bump into something successful, basically. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it's interesting that, because that's one of my analogies is very similar, but it's not dark. I would say, imagine you've got a room filled with balloons, and you put a blindfold on somebody, give them a knife or a pin, and say, right.
Could be a game show idea, yeah.
Go in here and stab as many balloons as you can blindfolded. Like, in a room filled with balloons, they're going to get a fair few, aren't they?
Yeah.
But you go to them right, take your blindfold off,
You're going to get more.
go and pop these pins. And that's the difference for me between having a plan and having a process and not. Because you're going to go in and you're going to if you go in that room with no blindfold, you're going to go, right, what's my method? Where am I going to go? What's my route?
And see what I get.
I'm just going to, you might go, I'm just going to go round and round and round. But if you're blindfolded, you're going to be like,
I've got one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna, when you pop one, you're going to be like, yay! And that's like us in life, right? We just go through life like blasé, blindfolded, thinking, I'm just going to try my best, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We get a small success, we feel great about it, but that success could be replicated and multiplied
if you had a concrete plan in place. It's not repetitive if it's a fluke, basically.
No, absolutely not.
I think having a plan, knowing how you're going to approach things, gets you in a positive mindset as well, because you almost recognise that you can't fail if you follow the plan.
Yeah.
You know, my end goal is going to be accomplished, which is a fantastic feeling. Whereas if you're sitting out, say, fat loss, and you're thinking, I've got a stone to lose, don't even know how many calories to have, not a member of a gym, don't drink enough water, etc.
Yeah.
That's a negative mindset, because it suddenly becomes a daunting task. I've got to achieve this, and I don't know how to do it. I'm never going to do it. That voice is already in your head. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do this, and that's negative.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more there, to be fair. And like you said, positivity develops from having a plan. I think you've got to have positivity leading up to the plan.
Yeah, open-minded.
And I think, because I think what I think a lot of people struggle with is that sort of guidance. Why on earth we feel like we can do everything alone? No. Why on earth when your toilet breaks? I think I've mentioned this before. When your toilet breaks or your lighting goes in your house, now unless you're an electrician or a plumber, fair play. But if you're not, you call somebody, don't you?
Yeah.
You reach out to somebody and you say, look, I need help. They've got this problem and I can't do it alone. Why is that so hard to replicate when it comes to ourselves?
It's pride, I think. I don't like to seem weak or...
But that's the thing, is how is that weak? Because if anything, for me, that's showing your strength.
Yeah.
Because it's showing that you know yourself.
You're self-aware enough to... I'm not going to go and tackle a toilet because I dare ring someone and say, I know you're an expert, I've had a go at it and I've flooded the house. Surely that's worse than just saying, look, I don't know what I'm doing. Get your send round here and sort it out.
Yeah, but like you said, I think it's that pride, and I think it's that the dominance of social media and the dominance of Google and the fact that you can read something and be a guru nowadays. Like, I read this online, so now I know everything there is to know about fat loss, or now I know everything there is to know about being a successful entrepreneur because I read 3 blogs by Gary Vee. Come on, ultimately, you can get there on your own, but it's going to take a lot longer. And I just think, why waste time? Time's already precious. We don't already have enough of it, as me and you know, trying to film this bleeding podcast.
Yeah.
Film and record, by the way, let's smash it.
Branching out.
So I think just accept it and be positive about recruiting help. And talking of recruitment, that sort of makes me think about circles and support.
Absolutely.
And
vital. Choose your circle wisely.
100%. I think, what is it to say?
You are the sum
average of some of the average, or the average of the 5 people that you hang around with most or whatever.
I think it is contagious, positivity. And you can see when you talk to people, if you are being positive yourself about certain situations, you can see how they really are, how they feel about it, because if they you can see that inner eye roll, you think, they are a negative person. But if they're engaged and their eyes lit up, you can see that you've inspired them and they're also sharing your positivity. Like your Instagram, for example, come across any of your posts, instantly it gets me thinking, right, if I were feeling a little bit down, it does pick me up. It definitely inspires me to be positive. What can I do today now? You had a little 5 minutes there feeling a bit, it does inspire, it is contagious.
And it's not even necessarily, I don't think, the things you say, but if I just see people doing positive actions.
Or wearing a smile for no reason, that's contagious, you smile yourself.
Absolutely, I just think, there's no time to be a negative arsehole.
It is so,
Like,
so draining.
They
They enjoy it though a lot.
they do, don't they? But like when you walk into a room and then you're like, morning, you're right, and they're just like, not too bad. Oh, Jesus Christ, might as well sign off now, I'm going home.
One of the best ones I've heard is, I am morning, you're right, and they replied, as well as they'll let me be.
Oh, Jesus.
One, who's they? And two, just go and jump off nearest bridge, because it does all the favour. That is unbelievably negative.
That is just ridiculous, isn't it? And that's what frustrates me, is it's just, you've given up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, come on, have a bit more fight.
You're on your knees at that time.
But what is it about? But I think it's a Brit mentality though.
Yeah.
And because I think you go to Australia, right, and you go, oh, what are you doing today? And they might be like, oh, I'm going for a walk. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be totally rad. Whatever.
Psyched up for it already.
So excited. Oh, it's going to be so amazing. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be totally radical. Like whatever. And you're like, and then you go to bloody an English person, and you go, what are you doing today? Oh, we're going to a theme park. Oh, how was it? Well, it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. Too bad. Why is that even? I say it, but I think it's just habit more than anything. Because why are we relating everything and comparing everything to the worst it can possibly be?
Yeah.
Like we've got, I mean, it could be really bad, but it's not too bad. It's all.
Can't wait to highlight the negatives, can we? How was your holiday? Pissed it down.
Yeah, I know. Or we get fuming when we're all it's sunny at home.
Yeah, that's just my luck, that. Aren't I unlucky? Poor me.
For God's sake, I was like, I come away, it's 30 degrees here, but it's 23 at home, I'm fuming.
Should have been at home.
God, we could have picked another week to come, couldn't we? Well, no, but you're in a nicer place than Rotherham, do you know what I mean?
Classic Brit mentality.
It is, it really is, and that is just...
We just love a good moan, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That negative mindset. It's almost a default setting of us to be negative because we enjoy the moan.
Yeah.
Look at England fans. We can't win. We play someone crap and beat them. Well, it's only bloody Slovenia, or we play someone good and lose. Useless, rubbish, overpaid.
It is a joke, isn't it?
Thrive on it.
We do unfortunately, but it's just, it comes back to that. They've got no, I think a lot of people put all this energy on stuff that they can't be held accountable for, don't they? Like, for whether it be football or whether it be a PlayStation game or whether it be, I don't know, whatever. Just, I think a lot of people put their thoughts and their feelings into something else. And I guess it's a way of sort of dealing with
an escape.
Dealing with their emotions that they're not actually fuming a game.
It's something else.
I mean, the perfect example was, I just keep bringing up my dead nan because I think it's a bit weird, isn't it? I'm not craving attention here or anything, but it was a day before a funeral and I went for a round of golf and it started pissing it down rain. I'm like 8 for 9 tea. I'm thinking, this is some soft all this, isn't it? I've come out for a round of golf, just trying to look for a bit of positivity. Start chucking it down in rain. Clubs are wet, the grips are wet, everything's wet. And I'd started messing up, right? And I'm on 11th, I'm saying, and I said to my dad who I was playing with, I said, I'm going off after 13. So it's the perfect walk-off point, I'm off, I'm done. He said, oh, don't be miserable, don't you? I said, I'm not being miserable. I'm wet through, I'm like a drowned rat. So I've got no waterproofs, I'm playing shit. And I said, I'm just not enjoying it, to be honest, Dad. And then 2 holes later, I literally hit like 3 consecutive shitty shots I've ever hit in my life.
I thought you were going to turn corner there.
No, I wasn't, mate. And I thought the writing's in the stars here. And whether that is just because I was in that negative mindset, and golf is one of those sports where you know and I know, if your head's not in it and you're not in the right mindset, it's really hard to self-talk your way out of that. And it's and that's sort of so relatable to life, I think, is that when you're stuck in that moment where everything just seems to be going wrong,
you're almost attracted.
Yeah, because you're not thinking straight, are you? You're thinking about what the shot before, you're thinking about what might happen on the shot in front, and you can look at that like life. You've had a shit show of a day yesterday, so you think you're gonna have a shit show of a day today.
Yeah. You visualise it before it happens.
Because you think, well, it happened yesterday, so it might happen today, or I'm just not feeling like everything's going wrong, and it's like, but it might not be, and like, you know you've got the ability, you know you've got the strength, the mental power, the physical power, whatever it may be, to do the right things in that day, because you've done it before.
Yeah.
So it's trying to switch that switch, but in hindsight it turned out, when I launched the club and it's a ball into a farmer's field, it turned out I was just angry. Coming back to sort of like using something to disguise your emotions. And I said to my dad, what the hell's up with you? Because normally I'm quite good and I do switch myself and I turn myself over and I think, right, no, next goal. But it turned out that my emotions were just so high and ramped up because it was the day before my nan's funeral, that like, it wasn't about golf. Like, it was just a trigger. That's all it was. It was just something to tip me over the edge. And then that was what tipped me over, and then it turned out I wasn't emotional about the golf whatsoever. I was more emotional about that. And I think that's a lot of people in life, I think, is, I want to use coming out with all the analogies today, mate. It's like, this is my perfect podcast, this, I think. Analogy king. So I always say, like, your emotions, your experiences, your whatever are like a bucket of water. And I say every experience that you go through, whether it's negative or positive, mainly negative, is like adding, whether, depending on how bad the experience is, it could be a drop or it could be 100 millilitres, whatever. And time by time, if you don't deal, like we said, if you don't respond and act and acknowledge those feelings, those emotions, the bucket's just going to get fuller and fuller and fuller. If you acknowledge them, effectively you're tipping the water out, because you're saying, right, you're in there, know what you're all about, and I'm going to basically pour you out now.
Yeah.
That's it, you've done.
Deal with it.
But ultimately, what people do is they let it build up and build up and build up and build up, and then they go through another negative experience when it's right at the brim. This is like me at golf.
Yeah.
And then it basically overflows. So you blame it on that last droplet,
the last influence,
the last experience, but really it's not that. And because you're focusing on that, you're focusing on all the wrong things, when in hindsight, you don't actually know what it is. It's just a bucket full of stuff.
Accumulation of everything.
So when we talk about being positive, it's not just about waking up, having a smile on your face. It's like we said, being positive about your actions, being positive about your directions. When something bad does happen, being positive doesn't mean laughing and joking and smiling about that shit experience. It means being sort of strong enough to make positive actions as opposed to be positive and saying, right, I know what to do in this situation.
Yeah. You can act positive without being positive, can't you?
100%. But yeah, I think it's, but I think I've only got to this point now because of the people I'm surrounded by. And I genuinely say that 100 times over, and I know full well I'm telling the truth, because 3 years ago, like maybe even a year ago really, that mentally, I wasn't as strong as I am now.
No.
And I think anybody listening and anybody who follows my like the wise words, whatever, like I think it's a natural thing to think, oh, they're always positive, they're always wise, they're always motivated. Oh, fuck.
We're not robots, are we?
No way, and you'll be saying, I'm sure you will be. Like, I'm sure there'll be times where you just think, oh, I cannot be arsed with these.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for me, that's just sort of
human nature.
Yeah, it's developed with time, but it's developed with the people that I've got around me. Before I had people, I'm not going to call them out because why would I do that? That's horrible. You are. No. But I think when somebody has an energy around you or has a certain way around you, it makes you think about yourself, it makes you think about your actions, and I think
absolutely, yeah.
And you do start blaming yourself, you start thinking I'm guilty, I'm this, I'm that, and the other. But when you've got people around you that just
lift you up,
support everything you do, just
it's hard not to be in a good mood around them people.
How can you not be?
Like Middleton says in his book Zero Negativity, he can tell when his wife has been to a certain friend's house because she's in a foul mood when she gets in, and she'll be picking him up on things like irrelevant things like you haven't put the tea towel back and stuff like that, and he'll be like, oh, have you been to so and so today? How do you know? because she's such a negative person that she spends half an hour with her, she comes home and she's just drained mentally.
Yeah, it's it really is important, and I think it's if you take anything from just our chat today, I think it would be, well, I mean, what would you say are the sort of 3 tips? Or we'll try and keep our tips. I know we did that last time, but let's try and sort of keep our tips on sort of if somebody's struggling or somebody's wanting to lead a positive life, what would your 3 sort of tips be? And I know we're not scripted, so we could have the same tips here, but
I mean, I think we've just touched on that. The circle that you keep, I think, is vital. It just rubs off on you, like we just said. I think that is one of the most important. Open-mindedness.
Yeah.
Don't just close yourself off and think this has happened. There's no other scenario than it being bad.
Yeah.
I can find a positive in it. And just, I don't know, exercise I think is a really good...
We touched on that, haven't we?
No, I think it's a really good tool for positivity. I don't know anyone who finishes a workout and goes, everyone sort of, I feel better for that, or you lift it up and then it puts you on a right track, you want to eat better, you're in a better mindset. I think exercise is an underrated tool for a positive mindset. The benefits on mental health we spoke about in previous podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're wanting to be a bit more positive, those would be my 3 tips.
Yeah, yeah, spot on. I completely forgot about it. How can we as two fitness professionals forget about exercise? But I think it is thinking about exercise. It is sometimes the small things that you do on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? Right? And I think it's having structure. So I think that would probably be one of my tips: is have a structure, have a plan, have a process, a routine. Because without one, you're just constantly going to feel lost. When you feel lost, you're going to question everything. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have no sense of purpose or direction. And it could be the simple things. And I think if you could just try and do the basics of every day, wake up, brush your teeth, make your bed, complete 10,000 steps,
daily tasks,
get a workout
daily
in,
habits,
eat at the same time every day. I mean, well, eat roughly at the same time every day. I know people's plans change, but try and get a consistent amount of calories in. Right? I mean, just try and get some kind of routine, because I think when
you get momentum. Then.
Yeah, and I think when you're doing all the right things for your physical health and your mental health, but that does for both, I think it's hard to generate a negative vibe. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying it just makes it a little bit harder.
There's always going to be days where you get negative vibes, but I tend to find that another good tip, I'll just add to my other tips.
You're 4 now?
Yeah,
let me have some.
Alcohol. Avoid triggers that do spiral into a negative mindset. I know when I've had a good drink at a weekend, that Monday morning alarm is not good. And normally I'm out of bed, I'm right, what's my first thing to do? Tick that off, boom, 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 off to work, I'm buzzing, train my clients, then I can train myself, then I'm doing this. If I've had a bit of a skinful weekend, that alarm goes off and it's, I could do without this morning, and why don't you train tomorrow, you don't really fancy it today, and then the negative thoughts, and it's, oh, you've ruined your diet at weekend, you shouldn't have done that, and you're just really down on yourself, and it can be Wednesday, Thursday until I'm back in that positive mindset. So I know for me, overdoing it with alcohol, it puts me in a negative mindset, so getting that under control is a good...
Yeah, that's a good, great tip. I think, like you said, keep a record, I think would be the sort of spin-off from that tip. I think just, if you can keep a track or keep a record of your triggers, or when you feel rubbish, can you...
Anything happen?
Yeah, can you trace back, and can you, in that moment while it's fresh, can you sort of pinpoint what time it is? Right, even if you just write down where you're at, what you're doing, what you've just done, and then every time you feel negative or you feel down, write it down, and you just learn to understand yourself. And I think then you'll have a better idea of, one, if it's coming, when it's coming, you know what to do. Secondly, you might be able to avoid it if it is something like alcohol, or if it is something that is negative, or if it's somebody you surround yourself with or whatever. So that would be a great tip, I think. I would also just say, do the simple things, just smile, force yourself to smile, force yourself to do something positive. When my granddad died, I said to my nan, she'll beat herself up, she's full of regret, full of emotion, full of negative like energy, and I just said, we can use this period of sadness though, and we can really try and look at something positive. Like, when you're feeling low, to look at something low or to beat yourself up is going to do nothing but drag you down into a deeper pit. So you're just beating yourself up. There's nothing you can change about what's been done or what's happened in the past or anything like that. So rather than reflecting on it and wishing you could have done something different, or reflecting on it and thinking, if I had the time again, or I just wish I could see you one more time, it's like, but you can't.
Yeah.
And there is a level of acceptance, and I think, but use that when you're feeling sad and you're missing that person, or when you're feeling a bit low because you don't want to go to work or something, what's one thing or two things that make you happy? Like, and just whatever strength you've got left, dig deep within, because I know sometimes it might be really tough to find any strength to do anything, but even if it's just going and cuddling your dog, for Christ's sake, like, or going and speaking to your mum who's your best friend, or if it's watching Kevin Hart's stand-up comedy, just something, I think, in that moment to just think, it's not going to fix the problem. I'm not saying that. You're going to do what you need to do, but I think
it's going to break the funk.
Yeah, I just think you need to find that inner strength somewhere deep within, because we've all got it. It's just sometimes we just need that little bit of a helping hand, and sometimes we just need that little bit of somebody to just say, "Come on."
Yeah.
Like, it's not over. Like, it's not. The way you're acting if it's over. There's no good to come of life anymore, but the 100% is, and like what you said, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Like,
I set my Get Lean with Dean clients, I'll set the daily tasks. One of them is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And they all sort of look at me as in like, oh, how's that going to benefit me losing weight? And it's more about the mindset that puts you in.
Mm-hmm.
You write down every single day 3 things that you're grateful for, and you start to think, wow, my life is pretty good.
Yeah.
And it puts you in a positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking back, say for example it's your kids and they've done something and you're thankful for that, and you go back through the end of the week and you read all the things you're grateful for, and if you're not smiling, then there's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, when in lockdown, me and girlfriend did a jar. So every day we put a note in the jar of something that we did.
Brilliant.
Or just it could be just we made, I don't know, we put flat pack furniture together or whatever.
Yeah.
Just something random, small but notable, and we put it in the jar. And that's the same sort of concept. It's not necessarily that jar's going to give us like endless positivity or happiness. It's just sometimes when you think you've not achieved anything, writing those notes, we go back and go, well, do you remember lockdown? Or what did we do in lockdown? We can get in that jar and go, oh, yeah,
remember that?
I forgot about that, didn't we?
Conversations flowing, it's smiling.
And it's memories, and it's time, and it's sort of not avoiding. It's not avoiding positivity in a way. It's being open to it and open to that conversation. Or if you're missing somebody, look at pictures with them, look at memories with them,
and smile
about it, and think about that time where you, I don't know, fell over on beach or whatever the story may come to mind when you think about it, and think, oh Jesus, that was funny, weren't it? Like, and I think it's stuff like that, not, oh I miss them so much, how am I going to live without them, like life's over, because ultimately being like that is not going to change the future. I know it's hard, I know it's tough, but it is one of the things. But yeah, that's another tip. I'm just making my tips of what we're kind of saying here, but another tip would be make positive affirmations, if you will. Make every day, what are you grateful for? What is a positive in your life? What have you got in your life right now that you are happy about and that somebody else would love to have? I always say that. Like,
absolutely.
Focus on that and think what. There's always a worse situation. There's always somebody worse off than you.
They always say, don't they, if the whole world put their problems into a bowl, you would definitely choose your own back.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like that famous. I don't know if it's famous actually, but I've seen a cartoon thing, and it's like a guy on a bike, he's a guy at a bus stop, and a guy on a bicycle rides past him. Okay. So I wish I could have a bike. I wish I could afford a bike.
Yeah.
And then the guy on the bike,
Wish I could afford a car.
I mean, I wish I'd
Is
been
he
able to afford
outside?
that car. Only hell is outside. Jesus Christ, what's he driving? Yeah, it's like Tokyo Drift out there. Jesus. Yeah, like I think, and then there's a car that comes past and the guy on the bike says, I wish I could afford that car. And then there's a nicer car, and the guy in the affordable car says, I wish I could afford that nicer car.
Grass is always greener.
Yeah, and then you always think, oh, if I just had a bit more money, if I just had a bit more of that. Whereas I think sometimes it's just about accepting what you have got and saying, I'm very fortunate, like, I've got people who love me, I've got this, I've got that. And just, like you said, just accepting it, moving forward with it.
Enjoying the process.
Enjoying the
what you have
process.
got.
Yeah.
As human nature, everything becomes accepted as the norm eventually. So whether it's a lottery win, like right now everyone will be like, I would never get sick of that.
Yeah.
Lottery, I'd be so happy. Eventually it'd be normal to you and you wouldn't be happy anymore. It loses its shine.
Interestingly enough though, I've always said, like, controversial opinion, I've always said I would rather work for 20 years and earn 40 million, let's say, than win the lottery and earn 40 million. What? How would you not want to do? You won't want to work. But I think, then I chuck it out and I go, yeah, okay, someone gives you £40 million. You're not going to value that money in what it's money. It's a load of money. Yeah. You're not going to value it. You're not going to look at that amount of money and go, oh, I'm going to be really strategical with where I place this money, because you don't care. It's yours. Yeah. You're going to go on holidays. You're going to do this, and that's great. Fair play, crack on. But if you've spent 20 years of your life working hard, grinding day in, day out,
to get it.
You know what it took, so you're going to think about every single penny that you spend.
Absolutely.
And I think
that lottery winner, what were you called? Something Carol, King of the Chavs. He blew the lot.
Yeah. And I think, but that's just, I don't think people understand sometimes that if it were easy, everybody would do it, right? And if we could all be millionaires, then, I mean, God, Jesus, imagine that. But I think, like, it doesn't work like that. And I think, but people do think sometimes the world owes them something, that we're doing all the right things. But sometimes you've just got to keep going. You've got to keep plugging away, stick to the process, like we said, stick to the plan. And your time will come, and you've just got to try and remain positive in that and think you're doing everything, you're sticking to that plan that you've made, so your time will come.
It's having the positivity of your mind to recognise that it will come and the belief that it will come.
One of my favourite motivational speakers, Eric Thomas, he's openly said, well, I mean, his background's ridiculous, but he was doing videos every single Monday for 3 years. 3 years, not getting paid a single penny. And I think, just when you think about that, that's 52 videos at least a year, times by 350 videos there and thereabouts. Like, what? Like, every single week doing more and more content as well. And I think life is not going to give you something if you've not earned it.
100%.
And you're not, like, the world is so vast, there's 7 billion people out there, so if you think you're going to be successful and you're going to reach or get to a product or get to some service or do something that's going to be widely available to 7 billion people after doing videos for 3 months, you're going to reality check, it's not going to happen. I mean, I've been doing mine for a year now, and I mean, as my sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Profile.
Horizons broadened, has my profile grown? I mean, my quality's got better, stuff's got better, things have moved forward. I mean, we're here now, we've got a proper camera set, we've got a proper microphone, we're doing it more professionally. But that's for me, I'm not really gaining anything from that. And I think that's the thing, is it's focus on yourself, don't focus on what you should be owed or where you should be.
Like we said before we put the camera on, we both enjoy the process of it and the routine and the work that goes into it, and then the editing that obviously you do, fantastic.
It's just coming on and chatting, and for me that's what I love doing. I love coming on. For me, this is a tool in my life that makes me positive. This is something that gives me positive energy. This is something that gives me something to look forward to on a daily basis.
And throw yourself into those things which we've touched on already. If something you know impacts you positively, do that more.
Yeah. don't, and that's the thing in it. I think a lot of people get stuck in that pit of doing stuff because it's giving them money or it's giving them, but they need to do that. But there's more to life, in my opinion. There's more.
People stuck in dead-end jobs that pay well, but they're miserable as sin.
Yeah.
It's
I'd rather be happy and take a pay cut, do you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Like you might struggle, you might have to move house and you might have to go to a smaller house, but is that house really a home or a happy home if you're not happy? No matter how big it is, whether it's got a pool or a hot tub or whatever, if you're not happy, you're not going to be happy in that home.
So then the people around you aren't going to be happy because your negativity is rubbing off them, or they'll just stop hanging around you because they think, you know, he's sacking the life.
And I think that's why you find a lot of rich people are alone.
Because they can't find any joy in anything because everything, like we said, has become the norm. So they can't really splash out stuff because that new Ferrari now, it's like, well, yeah, I've got 3 of them.
Yeah, so what's that?
Yeah, it's just it's not all it's got out to be, is it? I don't think.
It's not, and I think that's a great place to end. I think just don't expect. I think don't think that you have to be a certain level. Don't set unrealistic standards. Just live life. Be positive. Smile. Say hello to people.
Be kind.
Be kind. Be loyal to those.
Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, and be really truly grateful of those around you who are loyal to you and grateful for you and be grateful for them as well and just love life. Like I said on my post on Wednesday, you've got a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being in 400 trillion.
So stop spending it.
Saying that your day's not too bad.
Polish your cans off, say, oh, woe is me, nothing's right.
So you're amazing for even being on this planet to start with, so don't waste it.
That in itself you should be grateful for, 100%.
Yeah. So, perfect. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. We've been going for a little bit longer than we normally do, but I mean, it was always going to happen, I think. I mean, we've got no script in hand.
Yeah, we've done the can't topics.
So I mean, I'm glad to be back. Hope you're glad to see us back. And
see us.
Yeah, see us. If you like the video content, let us know because we will keep doing it. There's no harm in putting a camera in front of us.
No, we have actually done his hair today.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say we have to make a little bit of effort beforehand, but that's about it. You should have seen it before.
You should just sit in his pants.
But no, hopefully everyone enjoys it. Moving forward, obviously we're going to be talking loads more about mindset and psychology and whatever else, whether it's success or, I don't know, whatever, I don't know, we'll chuck it out to the public, everything in between from mindset to positive and negative, whatever. Cool. Thank you.
Peace.
Yeah, peace out.